Like you could be, that's useful now. But at that point in time, I did not realize the significance of it in general. But I will say that the cultural impact of having Belize in my life, and that place being my home definitely definitely created a part of me that I had to like learn to love even more, because it wasn't Guyana. I can't sit and lie and say, oh, like Guyana is like my home. I left there when I was 3. That is not where home originally is for 3-year-old Sarita. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all was thinking this. I'm thinking it. Like, what's one thing? What's one of your best memories growing up in Belize? As one of your best or worst memories when you came to the U.S. What's one thing that stuck out to you?
Oh yeah. So best memory is actually very sentimental. I don't know how sentimental we get on here, but I actually had a friend, Natalia. Because very Caribbean of me, I don't know how to swim. So we used to live right by the water, and so I would go in the mornings with this young girl. Her name was Natalia, and I would always go in the water with her. And because the water was very shallow in the mornings, I would try to like swim with her, but because the water was shallow, you would hear the manatees. So when I would duck my head under the water, I would hear the manatees in the mornings, and that was just such a beautiful moment. And it would rain, and like having my only friend there. I think now as I got older, I found out that as I got older, I found out that there were people of color on the other side of Belize. I said, oh shit, there's Haitian people over there. There's French Creole people over there. And then yeah, I was just like, oh, there's other people in the other part. And now my parents are actually, going back there on vacation and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, I told them, bring me back some goat cheese bread, bring me back stuff that I grew up like eating and stuff like that made me feel like back home. But I will say, coming to America, it was like, you're really sold in that dream that New York is everything, and it's all of these things. It wasn't. It was definitely a culture shock, and being in New York in all of its totality. So I would say there's not really one particular thing. It's just the dirtiness of New York.
You talking about Brooklyn, maybe, not the Bronx.
Oh no, I grew up in Queens. So
not the dirtiness is crazy.
Queens equals clean.
The dirtiness is crazy.
Yeah.
Something about my black eye.
Okay.
I live in a neighborhood.
So I guess because I want to know, like, what's a really good memory, like when you now you're here in America, you're in New York, like what's one of those first like really good memories you had, like, and that I'm gonna add part 2 that established like you feeling like at home.
It's so funny because like I actually remember going to Atlantic City for the first time. And that was when it was popping, but I like have a very like significant photo like me at Atlantic City with like a giant like plushie. I think that was kind of like my best memory because like I first got here and that was like the first place that like my cousin took me to in like Coney Island. So I will say that when I was a kid, I did get to experience like the greats of New York City before it became what it is now. And now when I go to Atlantic City, it's not the same, but that energy of like New York City and the vibrancy, that I will say is like my best memories of like getting to experience the joy of New York City before that. So Coney Island and Atlantic City in that regard. I didn't know where the hell I was going, but I was just like, I realized, damn, what city type far, all those tolls and shit, but then now I'm like, oh, that was really nice. Like, riding a cyclone and doing all of that. So definitely I will say those were some of the aha moments, so yeah.
But you said something important earlier before we just want to segue this, right? You said something important. You just knew you was going to do it. You willed yourself to the internship. I want to know exactly what you did in order to get the internship. Mm-hmm. But before that, what gave you the mindset, right? Because it's one thing when you come here and say, yo, I'm going to be what I'm going to be. What was mama loving them doing? Like, what was the influence? What was that like to make you believe that I'm going to fucking go do this?
Oh, bullying. Oh, your haters are your biggest motivators. Listen. Message. One thing about it, and 2 things for sure. Okay. I can't cuss on here, can I? No, I don't know.
Oh, you can.
Hell yeah.
New York, when you go to school in New York, love to try to tell you can't do something. And when someone tells me that I can't do anything, I'm going to do it tenfold. So basically, I did have people in school tell me, you're never going to meet the Jonas Brothers. You're never going to do this. And when you tell like a young kid that you're never going to meet their favorite celebrity or whatnot, you're like, yes, I will. And you're like, fuck, I don't know how to do that. Right. And it's funny because I put it out there in the universe. I said, I've got these girls bullying me, telling me that I am doing that. But I'm just like, I'm not approaching it the same way that they are. I want to approach it strategically. I'm just like, I'm teacher's pet. I usually run all the stuff for all the fashion shows. I'm usually a little bit more packaged and well put together. So I had it in my mind that I said, I'm going to go, see where Miley Cyrus was playing on the Today Show, which was actually further down the block in like Columbus Circle, like from Columbus Circle when you're on Central Park. So one summer, I basically said, I'm going to spend that summer looking for the Jonas Brothers. And it's funny because this is how, and this story actually does come into true full alignment. When I went that summer, that day, didn't see Miley Cyrus. I walked all the way up the block to the Trump Hotel, to where they were staying at the time. It was New York City. This was years ago. And I went there, and just so happened their tour bus was there. And within 5 minutes of standing there, nobody else was there. Kevin Jonas and Nick Jonas came out of that hotel, and I have a photo with both of them. No anything crazy. And I met them and got a great photo. And the photo signed me one of my largest beauty deals to this day. So to this day, you never know who you are going to meet. And that's the reason why being nice to everyone, unless they give you a reason not to be nice to them, is exactly the reason, why. Like, I didn't have like a great camera. So she took the photo for me. She sent it to me on maybe MySpace, Facebook, wherever it was at the time. And to this day, I'm grateful to her. Years later, we reconnected. She worked at a beauty brand. She said, you'd be great for that. And I signed a deal with that beauty brand, and I got paid for that.
Method. Well, I'm gonna start by saying this. I gotta say this because I know we're in alignment, because if you feel like you're gonna do the opposite, then you will not partner with more than the title. You cannot partner with more than the title, because you're not good enough. You're not good enough to partner with more than the title and us do a brand deal and us make something happen, because you're just not good enough. It's impossible.
This is bullying. I'm not a fan of this.
He used to be real bully back in the day. He's changed.
No, but that's one of the for all the things that New York City isn't. I'm glad you brought that up. That is something that actually New York City is very famous for, because I want to say it's the unofficial capital of the United States. People want to argue, but it's really the unofficial capital of the United States. You want to make it in music, you come to New York. Fashion is New York. The money runs through New York. Everything runs through New York. So the reality is what you said. You never know, especially walking around the areas in which they are famous for doing business in certain things. There's always celebrities. There's always people of influence walking up and down the street, getting a cup of coffee, getting something to eat, and things of that nature. So just you being in those areas, a lot of times you'll bump into people if you recognize them. And, like you said, it's up to you to have the courage to, not bombard them, but go up and say, hey, man, this is who I am. And, can I get a picture? Or I'd like to introduce myself. So New York is definitely good for that. If you have the energy and the courage to do that. So kudos to you for, stepping outside your box, so to speak, right? Your comfort zone in a place that clearly you don't know, right? You had to get directions to go there, and right, it probably was a journey for you to get there and say, but this is what I'm gonna do. And look, it actually turned out for you. So I like that.
That's just real.
Yeah.
I was gonna go back to how'd you get that? What you do for the internship?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
That
so
was gonna be my next question. Yeah.
you say it like, what I do for the internship.
I'm just saying that, you kept they kept denying you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So at the time in New York City, you couldn't really have an internship, especially at a large media company, until you were until you were a junior in college. So I was like, okay, I did not know that for a little bit. So what I did was, what I implore anybody who takes any type of mentorship or wants to work with me,